Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA plus exclusive experiences, discounts, and tickets. Already a AAA member, upgrade for free at AAA.com/Commanders. Hey, babies, hey, babies, hey, babies. Hi, everyone. Hi, everyone. Happy Halloween, everybody. Happy Friday. If you're watching on YouTube, you see what I'm wearing today. If you're not, go to the YouTube page and check it out. I have decided to go as Bram S. Pumpkins today. Any questions?
I will say, seeing you upon logging in this morning, I was like, oh, crap, it's Halloween. You are a much bigger Halloween fan than I am. So
I like dressing up. As I get older, I don't mind admitting it. I like going to costume parties. I'd go to one every month if we had them. If you want to invite me to them, I'll show up. If you have a nice theme, I'll do it, as long as it's not weird. You know, like you want to do 80s rock stars? Cool. You want to do wrestling? Cool. You want to do some kind of weird fantasy you got? I'm out. I'm not the guy for that one, but I'll do just about anything else.
Long time listeners of the show probably know your house probably hosted a lot of those back in the day.
Oh, yes. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes. Yeah,
that's a way back reference.
If you don't know who I'm doing, I'm David S. Pumpkins. It's very niche. It's a Tom Hanks skit from Saturday Night Live from a long time ago. And my kids have demanded that I do this for years.
Oh.
And now that I have the kind of grayish swirl going on in the front, I don't even need a wig for it. I could actually pull off Bram S. Pumpkins. Bram S. Pumpkins is here this year.
I would say it's like that old, man. I think it's like 5, 6, 7 years old. It's not too. If you're chronically online like I am, you do know the reference pretty much right away, though. So I'll say that. Yeah.
My wife did buy a skeleton costume and plans to walk around with me with it. So,
okay,
we'll see.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, wait. What are the kids? What's popular with the kids this year?
Oh God, what's my daughter? She's doing. You'd have to know this. It's Angelina Ballerina. It's a kids thing, like a little kids thing,
no
like
idea.
a little kids book thing.
Yeah.
And my son was dressing up as the penguins of Madagascar with all of his friends, and they were going to walk around together. And
That's funny.
Well, a little bit. Now that they're 12, it's like, oh, you're not going to steal anything, are you? You know, like it's like that's really cute when they're all 6 and they're all walking around like that. But when they're 12 and you don't trust them, who knows?
Whatever. At some point it does end. So I mean, it's getting to that point. But that's a good one. I like that one.
Do you know who Mabu is by any chance?
No idea.
I didn't either. He's some white rapper, and apparently Archer looks like him a little bit, and Archer's pretty good at basketball. So when he hits a 3, everybody starts screaming "Little Mabu" at him. So I don't think I want to know what this is, because I have a feeling like he's probably a terrible white rapper, but is very popular because of his lyrics. That's be my guess.
Fair enough.
Any questions?
Yeah.
Well, anyway,
no idea on that front. I'm not even going to weigh in on that one.
All right, let's get this over with. Let's talk about the game Sunday. Actually, I'm feeling pretty good about it, to be honest with you. I'm being completely honest. I'm feeling pretty good about it. They are good. Now that I've gotten to watch them, because I haven't paid a lot of attention to them, because I don't know. I just they were one of those I looked at and I went, they brought in Darnold. I don't really totally know why. They let a couple of very, old school, but reliable receivers go. I don't love them. Is Jackson Smith-Njigba really a number 1? He is. But I didn't really know. And then on defense, I'm like, I like this coach. I like what he did a couple of years ago. But they don't have a lot of names that stand out. So, Leonard Williams is very good. And Byron Murphy was a first-round pick, but you hadn't heard much about him yet. And Witherspoon seems to be really good, but, you don't hear about him with a bunch of picks and all this stuff. He's actually missed a lot of time this year. And if you kind of go across the board, you don't hear a lot of names that you know. And then when you watch them, you see what's going on. And they are very fast on defense. Darnold he makes a few mistakes a game. That's why I actually feel pretty good about this. But great downfield arm. They do score points. Smith-Njigba has turned out to be absolutely outstanding. And they're very good. I don't know. I kind of just I looked at them and I'm at the beginning of the year and I'm like, how are they better than both the Niners and the Rams? I don't think they are. And therefore, they're at best a second place team if, say, the Niners get really injured again. And then we were making a case for the Cardinals. Maybe the Cardinals are better than them. So color me a touch surprised, but color me also a little bit ignorant about them. And now watching them, I appreciate them, and they are legitimately a very, very good team.
I've been waving the flag for them since last year. You know this. So I'm not surprised. This is kind of like what's coming up with them. They won 10 games with Geno Smith as the quarterback last year. That's like, I'm saying that's a good team if you can do that. And so I knew exactly why they got rid of Geno and got in just about any other quarterback, that being Darnold. And I'm with you. Darnold has gone kind of Kirk. Is that what we would describe him as? Like, he has good games, sometimes a great game here or there, but then still makes some mistakes. Like, I think that's a good comparison. Maybe he's not as good as Kirk, but I think that's a good comp. And you put him
on any given week, he could throw for 350 and 3 touchdowns.
Right.
And there will be some clunkers where he throws a couple of picks and the thing gets, yes, I agree. Like, I think he's new Kirk. I agree. Yeah.
And so that's what I'll say is you won 10 games with Geno last year. You would think that gets you to 10 to 12 at least with Darnold. If I could buy a stock in any team, it was going to be the Seahawks this offseason. So I'm not surprised here, and I'm with you too. They kind of do it without this kind of, I guess, they have good players, but not star players at this point. But they have a really good roster is kind of like what I deduced from their offseason, essentially. So I'm not surprised you've gotten to this point because I've been in on this since the summer, essentially.
What they have is what we're missing a little bit on defense, like some speed, formidable, edge rushing, but they're not traditional defensive ends. Like, you'll hear the name Boye Mafe this weekend. You'll hear the name Uchenna and Wosu a lot, actually, this weekend. And I know, like, nobody knows who they are. Like, you'll know the names DeMarcus Lawrence and Leonard Williams, but you don't know these other names. And they're extremely disruptive, especially off the edge. I loved what this coach did in Baltimore the last year he was there. Clearly, since their defense hasn't been the same, although things are kind of turning the corner again for Baltimore. But, like, they were the number one defense in the NFL under him. I remember when we went through the coaching cycle, I was like, well, you got to talk to this guy. Like, I don't know what he's doing up there, but you got to go talk to him. And I know that they did. And he ended up with Seattle. And here's the one that I couldn't believe this. I mean, when I saw this stat, they've won 9 straight road games. He's 10-1 on the road. Like, you don't think of them that way. I don't think of them that way. And they can't avoid but have a lot of road trips on the East Coast. So they're traveling far distances constantly, and they could win their 10th straight road game this weekend. That's pretty amazing.
Yeah, and I mean, this is one thing that I talked about is you don't even really get the West Coast to East Coast advantage with this game, right?
No.
Because it's like a 5 o'clock game for them. It's not anything different really for them in terms of a normal Sunday. So that's what sucks about this is you actually don't even really get them at a disadvantage. There was some stat they broke earlier this year. Like, it was under like this franchise, they've broken the record from West Coast to East Coast wins or something like that. It was something odd, but like the road wins for them are coming in bunches right now under this coach, and they broke some record with that too. I wish I could remember exactly what it was.
Yeah. All right. So let's get into the game a little bit, and let's stay on this since we're talking about Darnold. Like Kirk, he's not going to run very much. He's not really going anywhere. He really is a traditional pocket quarterback. Unlike some, like with Penix or Herbert, where they've had a little bit of success there. Granted, the injuries have started to pile up. I will be interested to see how they use some of their players now off of, like, finally without Dorrance Armstrong, what do they do out there? But I think number one, and you'll see this a little bit with Darnold, like, he will be forced into rushing a few throws here and there. You really don't want him getting set, having a clean pocket. He can dice you up. The numbers with him, he's thrown for more than 40 touchdowns, since the start of last year and has less than 5 losses or 5 or less losses. It's only there are only 2 other quarterbacks that have done that, Jared Goff and Pat Mahomes, right? You don't like think of him putting him in those categories, but that's where he is. I think we're going to start here. I'm assuming Javon Kinlaw is going to play. He did tweak his shoulder last week, but has been practicing. I assume Deron Payne's going to play, hurt his toe, played last week, and I haven't seen any indications this week in practice that he's not going to play. This is the game for them. I mean, the pass rush on the edge is going to be hard to get because we just don't have the personnel for it. And I don't know, maybe this is the week that Joe Witt dials up some exotic blitzes. I think I've been kind of waiting for that to kind of happen too. I think we want to can we mix this up a little bit? you've got a target who's not going to move very much here. So you're not dealing with a mobile quarterback. I mean, he can run, but you don't expect him to very much. The rush lanes, I think, are going to come from the middle. Kinlaw, assuming health or Payne, are going to get double teamed. This is where Seattle has some issues. This is where the Luvus, the Bobby Wagners, maybe the blitz comes from. I think a rush up the middle that's created creatively using your best two assets up front, Kinlaw and Payne. I see a pathway here to being disruptive this time and having a different level of rush than we've had in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, to your point of like dialing up some blitzes, do you risk your personnel or have you kind of found that personnel too? Because Joey Jr. yesterday was all over Tyler Owen. He was all over Jordan McGee. He was talking about all of these young players. Well, hopefully that frees you up now to throw out some of these looks, that you can throw some of these guys all on the field at the same time, that maybe now you trust them to dial up a little bit of a blitz and not have to risk some of your players on the back end as well there. I will be interested to see what the defensive line looks like, though, just in general, because once again, they're just so injured. Is Payne lining up all the time in the inside? Do they probably bounce him off to the outside? Is Luvu playing, defensive end as much as we saw on Monday night? I think those are all valid questions here, but I think what's better is this defense has tended to be better against these types of quarterbacks, right? You go back to the beginning of the season where Russ was going down fast, Gino was going down fast. Like, if they can replicate some of that, I actually like their chances on getting some pressure. I know it's not going to be as much because of the injuries, but I do like their chances a little bit since he won't kill you with his legs.
I do. On Luvu, having watched last week, I don't love him in that spot. I know they're kind of just out of people, so they're out of options, and so they're trying stuff. He's not a defensive end, and so it's like he also can be one of your biggest playmakers on defense. I think we have to go with option B. That's just my opinion of it. Like, they tried it. Maybe he'll get some reps at it. I don't think it can be full time. I just think you're asking too much of him, and I just don't think he gets blown off the ball a million times. And I also feel like that many reps in that position opens him up to potential injuries. Like, I don't know. I want to see what they do here. Clearly he's a linebacker. He's not a rush end. So I know they're just running out of people, but I can't imagine that it stays this way for any length of time, because I don't think it's fair to him. And honestly, for them, they need to find a different solution, frankly.
Yeah, they also, honestly, I look at it from this standpoint. You put up literally any other player at that position, so you can free him up to rush the passer as a linebacker, not as a defensive end as well. That's the other factor here, too.
I do prefer Seattle running straight ahead. They have an unusual stat where they have a lot of big plays out of their run game, not surprising with Kenneth Walker. But the vast majority of their run plays are like negative yardage to 1 to 2 yard gains, like kind of nothing burgers. Walker is fantastic when he gets to the edge. He's very fast. This has been a problem now that all the defensive ends got hurt all of a sudden. Like, the edge, stopping the edge on the run has been a problem for this defense. Again, partially because of personnel and partially, as they'll admit, they get out of their lanes and run fits. Walker's very dangerous when he gets outside. In the middle of the line, I don't see the same level of balance and speed. So I want them running the ball straight ahead. We'll take our chances there. I would, again, like this game feels like if Kinlaw and Payne are winning up front in a number of different ways, I actually think they can limit this offense a little bit. If they're not and they're beat up, I think we're just going to become helpless, honestly, on that side of the ball. But if they are what they typically have been, that's fighting through some injuries here. If Seattle's running the ball straight ahead, I actually like our chances there too.
Okay. I mean, I would say that's where Bobby Wagner is at his best too, is when he's actually stopping the run and not stuck in coverage, stuff like that. So that's one thing. If you go look at all the advanced metrics as well, this team is actually pretty good when you actually cover up in front of him and he's able to just get his tackles in like he normally can.
It does look like Jaden's going to play. I don't know for sure. I think we'll hear something today. I don't know if Dan Quinn will announce it, but that's the way it's going. He has been practicing fully the last couple of days. I think he's going to go. Here's what I would say about him, which I think is very important. Jaden has shown a propensity to backpedal a little bit, in my opinion, in the pocket, and he's not stepping into certain throws. He still remains an extreme threat with his legs. But in this particular case, of the players I mentioned earlier, they're getting a tremendous amount of pressure from the outside. I don't know whether Tunsil's going to play or not. I think they're going to have to double team either Murphy or Williams. They're going to have to, one of the two, they're going to have to figure that out on most plays. And I do think a lot, especially if Tunsil can't go, but it's looking like he might. But if he can't, Connerly Coleman against these speed rushers, I have a feeling that Jaden's going to have to induce them to go around the edge and step up. It's imperative for him to get comfortable again, stepping back into the pocket and making throws from there or taking off if necessary. But he's backpedaling here we're asking for trouble. Is he at top speed? Probably not, with the knee injury and the hamstring slowing him down a little bit. I think he's going to have a little more of the pocket quarterback awareness. And in this case, these guys are very disruptive and fast on the edge. So a drop back to a step up feels like what's going to have to happen here for him too.
Yeah, I was going to say kind of just this whole second half of the season, it's how does Jaden try to look like Jaden again? He hasn't looked like himself pretty much the entire season. And one of those is stepping up and actually being a pocket passer a little bit more. I am worried, though, if Tunsil doesn't go, that once again, he does get put in harm's way. I know the two injuries have been fluky injuries, but it has happened when pass rushes have been really good against this offensive line. So I'm hopeful that he's a little bit, more careful than he has been. Not that it was, crazily his fault, the last time, but I'm with you. He's got to figure out how to kind of stand in there and take advantage of when the pass rush is coming through.
This could be a big test for the interior offensive line here. Williams is very disruptive, active. We've known him for years. DeMarcus Lawrence is moving around a lot for them. We know him for years. And Byron Murphy is very, very good. And they have a backup by the name of Jaron Reed, who's also very good, very disruptive. They're big up front. They're going to post 3 fast 300-plus pound players. So Chris Paul, Tyler Biotish, Sam Cosmi is trying to get his sea legs back here a little bit. It's a big test for them. I'm impressed. Like I didn't know much about it. This is just me like looking at them, not seeing a lot of names I know. Darnold shows up. Gino's gone. Division feels hard to me for them. It's one of those, they're easy to kind of be like, they're a nothing burger or they're a 500 team or they're not really a factor. Now watching them, I'm very impressed. And especially up front, Williams looks like he did 3-4 years ago. Extremely, extremely disruptive. DeMarcus Lawrence isn't having the same impact, but he's still obviously capable of it. Murphy is just a hole plugger. Reed is good. They're fast on the outside with these guys I named earlier. This is a test. It is a real test here. And, frankly, with all the injuries that Washington's been dealing with, I would see them probably as a favorite. I don't know. I don't know what the spread is actually, but I would assume that it's close. If not, they're a favorite because I'm watching them and I'm like, I am impressed by what they do for sure.
It's Seahawks by 3 the last time I checked. So,
yeah.
I'm not surprised at that one. Like I said, I've been a believer in them for a while now. And like I said, you win 10 games and you pull Darnold in there and you have all those defensive pieces. I'm kind of not surprised they're already halfway home to that already this year, right? So I'm with you. It's a tough division, but honestly, you look at the injuries that the Niners have already sustained. You look at the Rams, who could fall apart at any moment with Stafford. I do really like their chances. I just really like what they've been doing, and that was under a first-year head coach last year. Like I don't undersell 10 wins for a first-year head coach in that division as well.
It was actually last week one of the better games the corners have had against Kansas City. A lot of the big plays happened with like Kelsey down the field and a couple like a lost leak out plays is what really happened. Granted, that is Kansas City, like we were talking about a week ago. They're actually very methodical. They actually don't take a lot of shots down the field. They kind of don't need to. Just lay up, and then you lose one of them or Mahomes gets out, outside the pocket and starts doing his magic man stuff. That's where the big stuff actually happens. That's not this. So we're going to get tested here at the corners for sure. And I will be very interested to see where does Jackson Smith and Jigba line up? Who's on him? If I'm them, I'm actually staying away from Trey Amos, who's been the best corner here, and going put our speed guy on Lattimore and see what happens. I mean, and will we see more of a rotation on the back end? I don't really know. So, but that's what I would do if I'm them, because that's where all their big plays come from. It's him. Almost all of them exclusively go to him.
Yeah. To your point as well, Lattimore, I thought had his best game last week in terms of playing against the Chiefs. Do we think that's going to happen 2 weeks in a row? I don't know. I would hope so, that maybe he builds off of that against the Chiefs. But I know this is what offenses are doing. They're going after him. They're testing him. So if I'm the Seahawks, that's what I would do as well. I wouldn't go towards Amos. It's funny. Amos's targets have been so few and far between, too. Like, the respect he gets as a rookie is actually pretty crazy, I think.
He's been their best corner and not close. Like, it's not been close. All right, so famously, Sam Darnold said he's seen ghosts in the past. Hopefully we'll get him to see some ghosts. And we are wearing the outfits to bring back the ghosts. I can't wait to see this. We're all going to fall in love again. I think this might be the first of permanent. I don't know. I don't know that. I'm not reporting that. I don't know that. I just have a feeling that this is where it's going to go, that what you see on Sunday night will become the look again for the Commanders down the road. They can only wear it a certain number of times because it is a throwback / alternate. And you know this better than anybody. The NFL has these rules about how many times you can wear something like this. But next year is all bets are off on the white jersey. And then if they were to make, I don't know, a burgundy jersey, I don't know if they're going to or not, but if they do in the similar patterns, then they can wear that 4 times or whatever it is next year. And then by 2027, they could look like the Redskins again. With the exception of the helmet, which will have the W. And I think we all think that at some point they might tinker with that too. Like, that's a possibility. They might tinker with that one. But this is the beginning of the change that sends us back to the look we were all accustomed to. And the one that I think is going to become the permanent color scheme look again. I'm just going to reiterate, and Josh Harris said this again on John Oren's podcast, they're not changing the name. Redskins is not coming back. However, I didn't talk to you about this. I talked about it on the podcast earlier this week, but did you hear what he said about what Commanders means now? Yep. And alluding to leadership of all sorts of factions of leadership, including tribes, where we saw Darrell Green with a spear. So they're laying the Taylor Swift breadcrumbs of what's coming here. So some of I don't know if they're going to go full imagery that way, but they're going to look a lot like the Redskins on Sunday night. I think it's the beginning of them looking like the Redskins again a lot. And while they're not changing the name, some of that imagery in and around Native Americans is creeping back in, along with some of this medieval stuff that they've done with swords and leadership of all sorts of groups. But I think we all see where this is going. They are slow walking back towards all of the stuff that we connected to for all those years.
Yeah, if you went back and listened, I remember I did a hit with Andy Pollin on 2/2/22 once the new stuff came out, and I said, we're going to see throwbacks within 3 years. This is exactly the timeline of that. So I'm such a nerd about this stuff that I know, like, this is what's happening. I would move up your timeline, to be honest. It's actually like I wouldn't call it a worst kept secret, but the uniform geeks and people that pay attention to this, they basically have said the Commanders are trying to do a wholesale change. So I could see that happening next year. Like, I could see it being implemented after this season. The way that this uniform has already come out, it's gone over really well. Let's be honest here too. We were not going crazy when all the imagery came out with the spear stuff for the in-stadium stuff either. They were not shying away from that. Then, to your point, Darrell Green comes out with the spear on the Monday night game for the Raise Hail thing that they're starting to do. I expect to see that again on Sunday with Art Monk or whoever it's going to be. The spear helmet or spear imagery is coming back. I just don't know in what capacity. Will it be an alternate? Will it just be the permanent? I don't know. But yes, Sunday is the beginning of the end of these Commanders uniforms, I think, because I think they're switching to them full time. I think as soon as next year. And then what is
the
that
white
alternate?
one? Yeah, the white one. Yes.
Well,
they will. If they do a burgundy one, they can't wear it full time next year. They can only wear it however many times they can. So we'll see.
If they go for a straight up uniform change, they can. So I don't know. I don't know the rule on just changing your uniform straight up. And the thing is, that's not a hard change. They literally wore them 3 years ago as the Washington football team. They were the same exact uniform. So it is not like it is this new template. And I'm sure the NFL is going, if you want to switch to those, we don't have to design anything new. So that's where
That's right.
it is a little bit odd here where they want to redo the uniforms, but they exist already. There's not this new design. So that's what I'm saying. I would move up the timeline here to almost as soon as next year if they actually do it. So either way, I think they're going to look great on Sunday. There's some tweaks that are going to be made, but this is all barreling towards these Commanders uniforms are all going to be scrapped, I think.
Maybe one day, who knows, 10, 15 years from now, they throw back to those. How about that? Wouldn't that be something?
I mean,
and then we all view them differently. Like we all are like, oh, I remember like when the old Wizards jersey came out and had that weird font. And I was like, that doesn't even look like the Wizards anymore. Now when they throw that thing on, I'm like, that's pretty cool. Like, like 15 years later as a nod to it, I wish they would go back to the old school Bullets look forever but they're in a similar situation where the name's not the Bullets. So
right.
It kind of doesn't work. Anyway, real quick on Art Monk. Yeah.
To your point on that one too, like if Jaden is here for 10 years, like down the line, and then you do a throwback night.
And that's his first look again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's what I'm with you. Like the marketing does work there actually. So yeah. Anyways. Yeah.
On Art Monk, I'll read you the stats on him. 14 years with the team. Drafted in 1980, first-round pick, three-time Super Bowl champion, receiving leader in the NFL in 1984. 106 was the all-time lead at that point. Still only 16 games, but still. Broke the NFL record for receptions in 1992. Led the NFL in career yards for 2 weeks before he was passed by Jerry Rice and then ultimately lapped. Everybody got lapped by Jerry Rice. One of my favorite is he was like in 1989, he, Clark, and Sanders were the first trio ever to all have 1,000 yards in a single season, which tells you how prolific everything was. And this was 9 years into his career. And then my favorite was last week as Terry played. I got to say this. He just needed 23 yards and he surpassed it to have the most receiving yards by any receiver ever in the jersey in the first 7 years of their career. So that now belongs to McLaurin. He is barely halfway to the yardage that Art Monk put up in his career. So he'd have to play at the clip that he's played to this point for like 7 more years to actually catch Art Monk, who is the all-time career leader. He doesn't have a lot of fanfare. He didn't like a lot of attention, but this is so overdue. He is maybe a perfectionist, a tactician, egoless. He really, he's one of the all-time greats, but he's not the type to tell you it and not the type to be around it. And I'm just glad that we're celebrating it because it is overdue for him.
I have to say, I did attend the Hall of Fame when he got in with Darrell Green back in 2008, I think that was. And I just remember that was the story behind him. Was there was never like talking to the media, whether it was a win or a loss, never liked to toot his own horn, never liked to be flashy, whatever. Even that weekend in Canton, I remember people were kind of saying he was keeping a low profile, even though it's like his celebration for that weekend. So yeah, that's all I've ever heard about Art Monk is that he's pretty much like the most humble guy here. I will say this too. You did use my buzzword when it came to retiring numbers. You said overdue. They didn't start retiring numbers till a couple of years ago, so nothing could be overdue if they didn't do that. True. So that's true. They're adding him to the list as they should because he's a Hall of Famer and his number should be retired. Not that anybody.
I will say this too. At this point, after Sonny, Darrell, and Art, I don't know who's next. Actually,
yeah,
and there's not a lot of cases to me to retire a number. There's a lot of greats, obviously, that played here. Bobby Mitchell's is retired too, right? Isn't his retired?
Yep.
Yeah. I don't know. So I think we might be taking a break from that for a little while, but we'll see. I mean, there are candidates for it, but we'll see.
I do think you should just knock the ones out that aren't worn. Like nobody's wearing 33 for Sammy Baugh these days. Just
that one already was retired. That was retired. That was like the original one. That was like the only one that was retired forever. That was the one that was the only one that was retired.
All right. So next up in line for that would be like Rigo. Nobody's rocking 44. Like just
right.
You could do one of these a year. I wouldn't go too crazy, but you should just do the ones that you're not handing out anyways, is what I'm getting at here. Because you didn't hand out 28 or 9 or 81 or 44. So I would say, toss those ones out there. But I'm with you. It's not obvious after those, what's next.
I agree. All right, let's take a quick break. Bram What's Show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP upgrade for free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to join the squad and put your fandom in drive. So the fear of the AFC North is coming true. Lamar comes back. They rout the Dolphins. He throws 4 touchdowns. Ravens win handily. Look like the Ravens again. Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Cleveland. None of them feel like that if they were to get into a long distance race with them that they would win it. But they still have their pad here because of the start to the season. But I am bought in that in the end, Baltimore's going to catch all of them.
And Baltimore has a very favorable schedule down the stretch here. Let's just call it now. That Ravens-Steelers game is going to be Sunday Night Football to end the season, I think.
Probably.
That's the last game of the year for those guys. Look, the Ravens looked like they were clicking on all cylinders last night. I'll say this. I'm still, questionable on their defense. I'm not here to say that they had a great day because it was the Dolphins offense, which has been atrocious at times this year. So I'm cautiously optimistic for the Ravens, but that's a great start. If Lamar's going to be the savior, he definitely was that last night.
This loss last night probably solidifies that the Dolphins will be in a sell-off very soon, too. So we'll be watching those names specifically at Rush End. Does Washington get involved with something like that? I think it's only if it's like a very minor asset or a pick swap. I think that's the only way they're going to do something like that, but we'll see. Let's see. On Sunday, the Bears may get Cincinnati without Flacco, Han. So the Bears are catching a break here, or I think they are. And the Ravens are catching a break here that he doesn't end up playing because they were turning a corner until they had whatever that brain fart was a week ago where they blew that thing against the Jets. I assume the Bears win here, especially if Flacco doesn't play.
Yeah, I would assume the Bears win here as well. They usually tend to beat bad quarterbacks. If it's Browning, they should have no problem there. I expect Chicago to win.
Was JJ on a soft benching? Were they slow rolling his ankle injury? They tortured Carson Wentz for 3 weeks until the point where his body parts started falling off. And now they've had no choice but to say that he's fine. And they throw him in the Lions' den. Hello, give me Detroit. Give me Detroit. Just gave Aiden Hutchinson $1 bazillion. Detroit and Green Bay are the 2 co-favorites for that division. The Vikings, I think, at the end of this are going to have to answer serious questions, especially if Seattle's in the playoffs. Why did you let Sam Darnold walk when he's not getting $60 million a year? And it's clear that this guy wasn't ready for prime time. Give me the Lions here, but I'll be very interested to see how JJ performs now that he hasn't played in a month.
This is a botch of epic proportions. You have a Super Bowl ready team, essentially. Darnold's playing really well, and you turn to the rookie who you did start, and now you're not starting, and now you're going to start him against the Lions. Have fun with that, boys. Lions by 1 million on this one.
If you want to start, listen, I hoped that the Commanders' path to the playoffs would be to the division. But if the Eagles are going to be kind of just fine, then we're not going to win enough to catch them. So now we need to start looking at, well, if the Packers are going to win that division, then we need them to start beating the teams that could be in our way. And Carolina's at, and Bryce Young might not play. Give me the Packers here. Even if he does play, too much pressure up front. Don't think they can get enough big plays down the field. Packers manage enough points to win. Probably win by like 10.
Yeah, I would say Packers win here. Carolina also has a clear line of the teams that they can compete against. The Bills are, a Super Bowl contender. Killed them last week. I expect the Packers to do the same. Maybe not by 31 points. But yeah, give me the Packers here with a very comfortable lead.
This will be a sign of if things have changed, especially under Harbaugh, who never loses games like this. But this would be the most Charger thing ever if they actually lose to Tennessee, who is the resident S show of the NFL here as they try to figure out who their next coach is going to be. Can they get somebody who can make Cam Ward into the special that they think he's going to be? There looks like a roster overhaul's got to occur. I don't know if you saw the press conference with Mike McCoy where they asked him, why did you come out after the players to speak to us, which I didn't think mattered, but they asked him that. And he goes, because I was told to. So there's a lot of, I don't know what's going on there. And because I don't think we're in the old days of Charger Town, they're going to go there and win. So give me the Chargers. But if they do lose this one, which would then set them back immensely in a division race that they're in, it is the most Charger thing ever.
I mean, not all PR staffs can be led by Charlie. So, you don't know whose fault that was when it comes to the PR there. The Chargers are going to win this game. It's all just going sideways with the Titans. The one thing that I will say to watch out for that is, I don't know if you saw this last week, Cam Ward was getting pissed that they weren't being aggressive enough because he was kind of like, what do we have to lose? Why are we not going for it more? Why aren't we being a little more bold on the play calls? I will say that's a little bit dangerous that if they decide to go that direction, that's the one thing that can tilt the team. I don't think it's going to tilt the Chargers. The Chargers win this one.
Penix versus May. May versus Penix. The Patriots give consistent performances. The Falcons don't. So for that reason and that reason alone, I will pick New England. But I will not be surprised for a second if Atlanta goes up there because they swing wildly one way to the other. So give me this is a pass, but give me a tepid. If I have to make a pick, I would pick New England because they've been more consistent this year. And I do think May is playing outstanding. That said, with the weapons that Atlanta has, when it's clicking, it's unstoppable. So I wouldn't be surprised for a second, but I'll take New England.
Yeah, I'll take New England here because I like their defense so much better, and I trust them way more than the Falcons. The Falcons are the definition of a team I just don't trust at all until it's all said and done. Give me New England here.
Fun trains over in New York. Now that Scadaboo's hurt, Niners come east to face them. I think the bubble's going to get popped. This is a buttoned-up operation, and even though they're so beat up, the Giants will beat themselves, and they don't have any downfield threats. Niners win 21-14, something like that.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't call it a shock last week, but the Niners were due for a loss, so they lose to Houston last week, and that one wasn't really close. That's one where you kind of actually expected Houston with the talent that they have to beat them. They were just overdue. Because they were overdue and they finally lost one, Niners bounced back pretty easily against the Giants, I think.
Here's a great midseason show me game. Colts-Steelers. Steelers got beat up a week ago. Colts are just rolling everybody, shutting everybody up week after week. Dimes v. A-Raj. Tomlin, I think, is streaking towards what I think the first time where people could seriously talk about his job security. I think seriously talk about it, especially if they blow this division lead because they had a big one. I don't buy the Colts yet. I don't totally buy them yet.
Why?
I don't buy Pittsburgh's defense has been terrible. All right, give me Indianapolis. Their defense has been so bad. Give me Indianapolis.
It's not even like it's Dimes. It's Jonathan Taylor, man. Jonathan Taylor's the MVP
True.
candidate right now. He's having 3 touchdown games and stuff. Don't overthink it. Jonathan Taylor's the one that tears this one open.
He's on pace for about 30 touchdowns. It is really crazy the season that he's having this year. Good defensive battle in Houston. Broncos get the Texans. Both of them are extremely formidable up front. I don't love the way Stroud is playing. I don't love their offensive line. I think the Broncos D-line is going to overwhelm them. Texans will make more mistakes than Knicks does. Probably won't be high scoring, but I think the Broncos will be on the right end of the scoreboard. Give me Denver.
I saw one of my favorite stats for any team last week before the games on Sunday, and it was the Broncos sack the quarterback the most, more than any other team in the NFL, and they give up the least amount of sacks in the NFL with Bo Nix. That's a recipe for success for just showing up and beating teams. Houston is kind of the opposite when it comes to protecting Stroud. Give me the Broncos here. I think it might be a little bit closer than people think, but the Broncos are rolling on all cylinders. The Texans have been kind of stuck on neutral the entire year. Broncos win this one pretty easily.
Do the Jags have a traveling fan base? Let's find out because they get to go to Vegas and see if they all show up there. We get the traveling Trevs as they get their trip to Vegas. And let's see. No one can like the Raiders. Give me the Jaguars here. I know they're on the road. They are as untrustworthy as anybody, but the Raiders are an abject mess. Old Pete is whistling in the forest and nobody's hearing it these days. Give me the Jaguars.
Not every single road favorite's going to win this weekend. There's a bunch of them. I don't trust the Jags. You know how I feel about them. Give me the Raiders to eke one out in Vegas. Just give me Vegas to win this one.
That one also is pass. That's
really for sure.
That's pass. I believe the Rams should roll by the Saints, who are starting their second round pick quarterbacks making his debut against McVay. Good luck with that. So I like the Rams, obviously, and then this is a huge one: Chiefs and Bills. The loser here could actually be in trouble in their division. Like, this has always just been a marquee game, just kind of see where, take the pulse of both teams because they're both contenders, and I still think they both are. But the knock that the loser takes here could actually really hurt them this year. The Patriots are in a real race for the AFC East, and the Chiefs have two real contenders sitting with them, and I think the Chargers are definitively going to win this week, and we'll see with Denver. Neither one can actually afford to lose here this time. So this is a really interesting one where in the end they could be playing each other in the AFC Championship anyway.
Well, it's funny. I was going to actually say the winner could vault themselves into the 1 seed and the loser could vault themselves in the wild card. It almost feels like this is a rematch and they're playing for who's going to be the 1 seed or the 2 seed in the the last seed for
this
for the wild
could be
card.
For a home game in the playoffs for sure. Actually, but that's what I'm saying. Like, one of them, they're going to both be in the playoffs. One of them might be a wild card, if not both of them this year. And a loss here is going to hurt one of these two teams.
For sure. Yeah, definitely.
Okay. All right. Let me take a quick break. Bram watch the show. ESPN 630, the Sports Capital. Commanders fans, this is for you. Level up with the new AAA Commanders MVP membership. Get all the benefits of AAA, like 24/7 roadside assistance, plus 15% off Commanders gear at the online pro shop, chances to win game tickets, access to exclusive MVP events, and unforgettable experiences. Already a AAA member? Add the Commanders MVP upgrade free. Head to AAA.com/Commanders to join the squad. Put your fandom in drive. All right, welcome back. Let's do Caps weekend real quick here. Isles at home tonight, at Sabres tomorrow. Caps have had a rough few days here, been outscored aggregate 8-1. One of them, granted, that was a 1-0 loss. Do they bounce back? What do you think of the Capitals this weekend?
I think this should be a 4-point weekend, at least a 3-point out of 4 weekend. The Isles, they usually are fine with handling. The Sabres Sabres actually are having a good start to the season. Welcome to Buffalo, though. They do this every single year where they have a good start and then they just fall apart. I actually expect them to beat both teams. We haven't even talked, though. Saturday, they got boat raced by Ottawa. And Spencer Carberry, I'm actually waving a red flag. Spencer Carberry, they were down 2-0. And the Ottawa goal was kind of ticky-tacky. You could have called it. They called it a little goalie interference. Spencer Carberry, after the game, said, yeah, I had to throw that challenge out there because I just wasn't getting it from our group tonight. As in, I threw a challenge out there because I could tell we weren't playing well, and I didn't want to go down 2-0. I thought that'd be bad. This is the second instance this year where he's pretty much said, I've known in the first or second period, I know our group doesn't have it tonight, and I need to do something to get them going. Once again, we're early on in the season, but to say that about your team out loud like that, little bit of a red flag there. And then I will say this, the Dallas game, 1-0, they got outgrinded. I was actually fine with that one. Ottinger's one of the best goalies in the league, but that Saturday game, I was kind of like, oh, you're needling your team again here a little bit. Rightfully so, though, on that front.
Okay. I'm a long way away from souring on my guy Carberry. So
I'm not souring. I'm red flagging the team.
All right.
I'm red flagging the team on that. That he has no problem calling them out like that. But guys, it's still October and he's done that twice already. Just that's not the best sign in the world. That's all I'm getting at there.
Let's go. Heat the chicken farm up. Let's go, guys. Come on, heat it up. Right. All right. Let's see. The Nationals are hiring a 33-year-old manager. I read he's going to be the youngest manager hired since 1972. They're going very young here with the new president of baseball operations who keeps hiring young people from Boston and Pittsburgh to be part of the front office. And now this Rays development guy, I'm not going to pretend I know anything about him. I need Zuck or Al on here to tell me what's up with this guy. But you know what? I'll just take it at face value. They're going young, modern, fresh look, fresh approach. Go for it.
As I've told you, come talk to me when they spend money. But what I will say is this. They have picked a direction, and I appreciate that they are clearly going very, very young. They're going all analytics driven. From what I read about this guy too, he's really good at connecting with young players. Well, last time I checked,
they need that.
Nats have one of the youngest rosters in the league, including a guy like CJ Abrams, who, 2 seasons ago had some problems to, connect. So I'll take this. I like what I see so far. Once again, come talk to me when the roster is a little more filled out, though.
Yeah, I mean, I know it when I see it. I am all in on Dylan Cruz. I actually think that he will be a star stud for them.
Oh, look at
Wood
you.
will always be a good hitter. I don't know that he's ever going to be. I'm hoping they can turn him into a consistent hitter outside of just a home run hitter. I love Cruz. I think Cruz is going to end up being really, really, really good. And maybe this is the right guy for someone like that. Young can connect to him and develop him even more. They're going to need somebody to be their great player. And I think he could be that for them. Let's see. All right. I read this stuff about Skubal, and the reporting is like whatever they're offering him is like a joke, the Tigers. And so I don't know. I mean, should the Orioles make a statement and actually go get somebody like this, where you've got a Cy Young winner who's available? You got to pay him a crazy amount of money, but I mean, they don't have anybody. I don't know. Like, there's a part of me that goes, take a shot. Like, go pay for somebody like this.
The paying for starting pitching seems to pay off for just about everybody. If you're the Orioles and you actually want to hand out one of these contracts, this is who you pay for.
I agree.
You seemingly have a million bats in your system, so you can figure that out. And if it means moving people, you move people. But they've got to do something too to just shake up the culture down there too a little bit. Like, I think you need to bring in someone like this to put the urgency on everybody that you're spending money now. You need to kind of turn it around. Look, they did turn it around after the first couple of months, but it was already dead in the water with their season. But this would be a big help on and off the field,
yeah,
I think.
I think so. All right, last thing. Will the Blue Jays pull this off? I say yes. I think they're going to win one of the next two and pull off what is going to be one of the biggest upsets in World Series history. They just got everything going for them. The games are in their building now. I think the Dodgers are getting run over by a Mack truck at this point, and they're going to lose. And the final score of whichever game it is that they do it is probably going to be like 8-2.
I will say this. I think they're going to lose tonight. I think we get a game 7. Everyone's going to be watching that thing. I want to pick the Blue Jays so bad, but the Dodgers have the best player on the other side of Ohtani. I know now that they're not pitching to him, it's kind of working out for him. I feel like the Dodgers could explode at any time. I'll go with the Blue Jays here, but I still think this is going 7 either way. So talk to me on Saturday, pretty much.
Whenever they hit that first mid-inning home run, the place is going to go berserk. True. And whoever's pitching for the Dodgers is going to crumble. That's what I think. The pressure is just going to break them. That's what I think is going to happen. These guys, I saw something about like how I know whoever they're working with, he just gets contact. Like, there's just no swings and misses with them. So whoever's working with their hitters, hire that guy. Like, whatever that is.
I mean, the other day, jumping on the first pitch to get a home run. I mean, that's a strategy right there. That's not a player. That's them saying jump on whatever this first pitch is. They did. They get a home run, and they're already up 2-0 in the first inning. So, yeah, whoever they're working with, get their developmental people, Nats, because clearly it works with them. That's what I'd actually go after some of their guys.
All right, everybody, have a great Halloween. Be safe out there. Talk to you from the booth on Sunday night football, Seahawks and Commanders. We'll have a review of it on Monday. Very much the show, ESPN 630, the Sports Capital.